Spooky month is just round the corner, so we've got some new releases to look at in the month of Spooky. Coming out on October 1st, we have the fourth and final secret project from Brandon Sanderson. Now, I'm not going to say anything about it, I'm just saying that if you have backed the Kickstarter, check your emails October 1st for your copy of Secret Project 4. Of the 4, this was probably the second one I was looking most forward to. Yumi and the Nightmare Painter being number 1, but this one I think is still going to be really good. And I will most certainly be reading that on October 1st, and I'll make a video on it, so watch out for that. Also a heads up that on October 3rd, we will have the physical copy of Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. So if you didn't back the Kickstarter and you didn't want the ebook and you're waiting for the physical, you can grab that on October 3rd. I know there were some discussions about this being a wee bit of a different style for Sanderson, but I really like this cover. I almost bought the Waterstones edition and then I thought, no, you have a copy, you don't need another one. I have had the question that which secret project should you pick up? Definitely Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. That one, terrific book. Also coming out on October 1st, we have a grimdark fantasy novella called The Crown of Omens. And look at that cover. This is a prequel novella to The Fangs of War, which is a grimdark fantasy book that I've had on my TBR for quite a while now. On the churning waves of the icebreaker sea, black-masted galleons appear at the walls of Cassandre's harbour under the cover of night. The palace keep looms large against the moon. The quiet city streets lie still and peaceful. And then thunder cracks and cannon fire sets the harbour ablaze, as the greatest nation the world has ever known crumbles before them in the dark, besieged by an enemy on the hunt for revenge. And it is a war that begins when a pale figure slips ashore that fateful night in search of a broken redemption and the famed Crown of Omens. For the end of the world had come, and the ruin of man will follow. Like I said, this is a fantasy novella, so it is only 159 pages. And because it's a prequel, I would assume it's also a good way to get into the series and try out the author's writing. So if you're looking for some good grimdark sieging, check out A Crown of Omens, October 1st. Coming out on October 2nd, we have The Burning Bandit. The Burning Bandit is a story of two boys whose past and present are entwined by destiny and shattered by betrayal. The world is governed by chi, the use of the spiritual arts and the manipulation of the four: water, earth, fire, and air. This clearly takes inspiration from Asian culture, and anything that uses elemental magic just makes me think of Avatar and The Last Airbender, both of which are checks in my book. Also coming on October 3rd, we have the Hurricane Wars. All Taliesin has ever known is the Hurricane Wars. Growing up an orphan in a nation under siege by the ruthless Night Emperor, Taliesin has found her family among the soldiers who fight for freedom. But she's hiding a deadly secret. Light magic courses through her veins, a blazing power believed to have been wiped out years ago that can cut through the Night Empire's shadows. Prince Alaric, the Emperor's only son and heir, has been forged into a weapon by his father, tasked with obliterating any threats to the Night Empire's rule with the strength of his armies and mighty shadow magic. Alaric has never been bested. That is until he sees Taliesin burning brightly on the battlefield, with the magic that killed his grandfather, turned his father into a monster, and ignited the Hurricane Wars. In a clash of light and dark, their powers merge and create a force, the likes of which has never been seen. This is a fantasy romance, which is not really normally my type of book, but anything with shadow magic, I just feel like I should mention. On October 3rd, we are also getting the Jinn-Bot of Shantiport, which, aside from Secret Project 4, is the one that will definitely be going on my TBR. This sounds awesome. And look, the cover has a monkey. Shantiport was supposed to be a gateway to the stars, but the city is sinking, and its colonist rulers aren't helping anyone but themselves. Lena, a daughter of failed revolutionaries, has no desire to escape Shantiport. She loves her city and would do anything to save its people. This is, in fact, the plan for her life, made before she was even born. Her brother, Bador, is a small monkey bot with a big attitude and bigger ambitions. He wants a chance to leave this dead-end planet and explore the universe on his own terms. But that would mean abandoning the family he loves, even if they do take him for granted. When Shantiport's resident tech billionaire coerces Lena into retrieving a powerful artifact rumored to be able to reshape reality, forces from before their time begin coalescing around the siblings. And when you throw in a piece of sentient, off-world tech with the ability to grant 3 wishes into the mix, none of the city's powers will know what hit them. It just sounds so good! It's a robot monkey! Yes! Bador! The robot monkey. The world building sort of steampunk aesthetic reminds me a lot of A Master of Jinn, which is one of my favourite books, so I really want to check this out. It sounds so good. This is tagged as a science fiction fantasy dystopia novel as well, so it does seem to have this more steampunk technology base with even Bador the monkey bot. I can't get over the monkey bot. But this whole 3 wishes also leans into this idea of Jinn and more fantasy elements, a bit like, makes me think of like Aladdin with the genie, which just sounds like the perfect mix. Next up, if you're looking for more cosmic horror for your October reading, I got you covered. Also coming out on October 3rd, we have The Dead Take the A Train, which, look at the cover. Definitely screams cosmic horror, creepy fantasy vibes, and I love it. Julia Cruz is a coked up, burnt out 30-something who packs a lot of magic into her small body. She's been trying to establish herself in the New York magic scene, and she'll work the most gruesome gigs to claw her way to the top. Julie's desperate for a quick career boost to break the dead-end grind, but her pleas draw the attention of an eldritch god who is hungry for revenge. Her power grab sets off a deadly chain of events that puts her closest friends and the entire world directly in the path of annihilation. Urban fantasy, cosmic horror, fantasy, eldritch gods, end of the world. What more could you want? We're taking a big old jump from October 3rd all the way to October 24th with the sequel to The Daughter of Redwinter, Traitor of Redwinter. The second in Ed MacDonald's Chronicles of Redwinter, full of shady politics, militant monks, ancient powers, and a young woman navigating a world in which no one is quite what they seem. Warrior magicians that live in a fortress monastery? That just sounds awesome. It sounds like there's a lot of mystery elements, this sort of bigger political story, and it sounds like the magic system ties a lot into the plot. And I really like this darker twist of hearing and seeing the dead. It reminds me a lot of Ninth House, which I loved. So like a Ninth House type magic system with this bigger political plot tied into a fantastical world. I am definitely here for that. However, I didn't really hear many people talk about Daughter of Redwinter after it released, so if you have read it, please let me know what you thought in the comments below. I'm certainly intrigued. And the last, but certainly not least, on the spooky day itself, October 31st, we have Shadows of Nyn Dira, the 3rd book in the Fallen Light series. This is another indie self-published series by the author H.C. Newell, and the first book being Curse of the Fallen. Because it's book 3, we will go over the synopsis for book 1, and that way you'll know if you want to continue on. The child is not the chosen one. She is a demon to be destroyed. Born of magic, Narana is labeled a demon and forced into hiding by the Order of Sorrow. Living with a curse that binds her to their leader, Narana seeks to free herself from their hold, and soon learns that the path to redemption may prove more fatal than the Order itself. But for Narana, this is more than a quest for survival. It's a promise of revenge. I don't know a lot about this series, but I know that the author did say that she took some inspiration from Skyrim, and seeing as Skyrim is one of my favourite games of all time, that immediately put this series on my radar. The world building is said to be very Tolkien-like, very classical fantasy with elves, so if you're looking for a new high fantasy, dark fantasy series with a classical twist, definitely check out Curse of the Fallen, because book 3 is coming out on October 31st. A little bit of a shorter one this month, but there's a lot to be excited about here. I mean, new Sanderson Secret Project, the last one, monkey robots, cosmic horror, there's still plenty to top up the TBR. Let me know what you'll be reading in the month of October. Are you going to pick up any of these? Do you have any spooky seasonal reads? Or just what will you be reading? I'll certainly be picking up the fourth and final Secret Project by Brandon Sanderson, and I also plan to do a review of Uzumaki by Junji Ito. I also have started Robin Hobb, and I will be doing a full video for that, so I might release a video on that in the middle of the month. We shall see. But thank you very much for watching. I wrote a book. Outro. I don't know why I keep doing that. It's really not comfortable to get back up.